Hi guys, and today I'm taking over the channel again, and my wonderful husband makes amazing videos every week or every day. He's posting them every day at least, and you know, I'm sure you have questions, I have questions, my friend have questions, so I'm just gonna ask him random questions based on everything we speak about. So today my question is it good to eat the same thing every day?
Oh, interesting. You know, this is a very interesting question.
That's also targeted towards you, because you like to eat the same thing every day.
Well, automatically, we can know for sure that that's not the case, because so you don't always, for example, for protein, because if you have protein consistent all the time, you're either going to have it too low or too high in some. So basically, this is what I mean to say. We need the growth promoting elements of protein, and we need them to come, but we can't have them all the time. If we have them all the time, we run the risks of basically cancer in the long term. So this is why, for example, when we fast sometimes, and then after the fast we eat a lot of protein because we want to raise mTOR. But you can't have mTOR raised all the time. If you're eating the same thing all the time, you probably have too low mTOR or too high mTOR. You need mTOR to be low, and then you need to raise it, and then, I know there's no evidence of this academically, but this is what we speculate. Yeah. Most people speculate this, that it needs to be low and then raised once in a while. So automatically you can't be eating the same thing every day, but
that's just when it comes to protein.
That's just protein. In terms of the other food, the way I look at it is, there are some things you can't eat every day, or it's not convenient to eat every day, like liver. Like we can eat liver every day because we segment our liver into very small parts and stuff like that, and then we also get rid of the iron. But most people eat liver in like a plate, and so they eat it once a week, stuff like that. But other than that, you want everything to be coming every day, because you're not looking for, there's no receptor downregulation that you're concerned about. It's not like, if I eat carrots today, I'm going to get a different beta-carotene than if I ate it tomorrow. You're still going to get the same thing. Your food should be optimized in such a way that you are eating the same thing every day, and then you have cyclic changes. So for example, once a month, or once every 3 months, or once every 6 months, if you're I don't know, perfect health, you fast. And then after you fast, you eat your protein. Once a week, maybe you fast for a day and a half or something. Or once a week, or right after that fast, you eat your protein again. Generally, you want to raise your protein after you've decreased it tremendously, because you have new stem cells, you want to grow them. But in terms of the actual food, it should be the same every day. I mean,
unless you're eating cheeseburger and Pop-Tart.
Well, that's
or
true.
Cheesecake.
In which case you need to. Actually, good point. So if you're not a person that is, if you're a person that's not serious about health, your food should change. Yeah. Because you're not getting the right nutrients, and you're not getting the right phytochemicals, and you're not getting them consistent. So if you at least vary it, you're gonna get. That's why they say everything in moderation, because for people who are not serious about life, they can do everything in moderation. But if you're serious about life, your schedule should be designed perfectly. And like, you know, who's a great example of this is our bodybuilders. Bodybuilders usually eat the same thing every day because they have a goal, and they know this thing is working toward my goal. Now, of course, their goal is going to lead them to death in that case. But I'm not to scare anyone, but that is leading to death. I'm not talking about the steroids. I'm talking about the protein amount, the carbs, all that stuff will make your life shorter. But if your goal is to live long, or if your goal is to feel in the best of health, which is sometimes different things. So, for example, you're going to feel probably in better health if you have a higher iron content. You're going to feel in better health. Well, fasting will make you feel like you're in better health, actually. But if you take some of the things that, like iron is a great example, right? Or selenium as well. You'll feel like you're in better health with higher amounts of these minerals, but they may not be good for your long-term health. So if you're optimizing your life for longevity or for health, you probably want
what your goal is.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, exactly. Or for not health, but like how you feel. That's what I mean. Yeah.
All right. Now I have another question, and it's a personal question, and I'm asking you that because I admire. You have a very particular trait of your personality that I absolutely admire, and I'm sure everybody wants to know. So how do you stay motivated every day?
Oh, interesting.
You're very, you have a lot of determination, and you're always highly motivated, and it's just, I'm trying to stay motivated. You motivates me a lot, but yourself, like, nobody motivates you. You motivate yourself all the time. How do you do that?
It's a very interesting question. You know, it's very weird feeling to be asked by you, and also to have, they're all really surprising kind of questions. So I mean, this has a lot to do with upbringing and mindset. So maybe also genetics. I don't know what the genetic factors are that may be responsible for this, but some people have an external motivator. They have to be around rich people and want what they have, or they have to be around happy people and want what they have. And some people have an internal locus of motivation. The people who are leaders, or you know, people who define their environment, they have an internal locus. And I've always had an internal locus, including in my youth, that was visible by my behavior. I think in my case it came from my childhood. You know, I didn't have I had a, but you also, we both had very unusual childhoods. And in my case, I think I never felt that I had the like a bad hand of cards in childhood. I didn't feel like my life was worse than others because I didn't know any different. But I think something in terms of the difficulty of things that were around me made me determined not to become a victim of life, or not to become an outcome of my environment. At some point I decided, probably really young, you know, I was very into superhero comic books when I was younger, because it was this idea that you could become something larger than yourself, and you could protect others, and you could protect others from injustice. You know, this is like psychoanalysis. I don't really know how I was thinking, but I really got into superhero comic books. And then by the time I was 10 or 12, I started to really decide that I wanted to make something different out of my life. Now, originally I was very ambitious, and I worked very hard toward that goal. But something spiritual happened to me, and at some point I realized that that was in a way living for others in a way that's not good. Like, living for others because you want to help others or serve others is good. But living for others because you want to be known, or you want to be dominant, or that kind of thing, that is a sickness that comes from an ego-driven life, and doesn't lead to happiness or to any good. It sometimes leads to good for other people by accident, but not for yourself. So at some point I moved away from that. But you know, I'm surprised that you're saying very motivated.
What I mean is, like, I have cycles. Like, I can see myself, like, I don't know, if I take like the past 6 months, like I will have like 3 months I'm like extremely motivated. I woke up every day and I do so much work, and I'm like, you know, I create new projects, like, you know me, I just try to find new business ideas and new things. And there's other month where I'll just wake up and it's just, the motivation is harder to come by. Like, I just, you know, do everything I need to do, but I don't go overboard. I feel like every day you wake up and you just go overboard.
That's true.
There is no cycles.
What you're describing is very interesting. It's called cyclothemia. You are cyclothemic. Cyclothemia is a mark of greatness. It is the non-pathological version of bipolar disorder. So bipolar disorder is pathological. People cannot function. Cyclothemia is what you're describing, going through periods of greater work and then periods of less productivity. All great people that I've read about in history have this. Great people in history do not do 8 hours a day consistently all the time. They go through periods, like Winston Churchill used to call it his, I've been mentioning Churchill a lot these days, but trust me, he's not the only character that's like that. But he used to call it his dark days, where the dog, he called his depression the dog, or something like that. He would go and he would not produce much for a while, and then he would come back out. Potemkin, Catherine the Great, you know, there's a show now on Catherine the Great. They haven't brought it out yet, but Potemkin was her greatest aide. That was what he said, aide de camp. That guy was speaking French. Anyway, her greatest aide de camp, and Potemkin was the guy who created Odessa in the south of Ukraine, and he created so many cities around the world. They're called Potemkin cities. He was the head of the Cossack hordes for Catherine, and he was very cyclothemic as well. All the great people in history are cyclothemic, because to be able to work so productively that you go beyond people around you, you have to push beyond your natural physical resources, and there has to be a time period where you go back. In the bipolar, this is called mania, manic. He's a manic and then depressive. but that's when it's pathological. Now, I do have that, but mine is very far spaced. It's like 5 months, and then I have 1 month where it goes off. Yeah, that's always been like that. That's true. And this is how, for example, guys, when I talk about mental illness being tied to greatness. So, I have a relative, close relatives, who has bipolar disorder.
Same.
Yeah. You have bipolar disorder relative?
Well, undiagnosed, but...
Oh, undiagnosed. Yeah, no. But so, it's, yeah.
Unofficially.
So, yeah, and you have that, and then... But then I have other people related to that relative that are great functioning.
Same.
So that's how it often happens. And you'll find in other families there'll be a schizophrenic, and then their relative will be an artist, a beautiful artist. So there will be things like that with creativity, and in terms of bipolar, with productivity. But really, the thing about it is this: staying motivated. You know, I mention this sometimes in my interviews. It's about where does your motivation come from? So some people are motivated. I always want to ask, but I don't want to be repetitive. Are you motivated by fear or by love? Because I used to be motivated by fear. When I wanted to become, I didn't know I was scared. Trust me, I had no idea I was scared. But when you want to protect yourself as a child, and when you become older, you want to become strong, and you want to become powerful, and you want to become known, this is from fear. Because you have a fear of what would happen to you if you're not like that. And you want to, and also there's a determination to assert yourself, which Nietzsche called the will to power, right? That I am here, this is me. But also it's from a fear basis. There's another one that comes from love. So for example, you want to protect your family. For example, your father is mentally ill, or your mother is handicapped. And that motivates you to become stronger because you need to take care of her, and you need to not worry about her when she's older. Or you are someone so empathetic that you care about the poor people in the world. And you really want to build something so you can take care of them. Now, I'll tell you something. I don't believe that level of distanced empathy can motivate greatness, because it's too distant. But if it's like someone you know that you really care about, that can sometimes motivate greatness out of love.
Yeah.
So whether you come out of love or fear is important. Because if you come from fear, it becomes a battle with yourself. You become a negative reinforcement. It's like, I have to do this today. I'm not going to be a loser. I have to do this. I have to be tougher on myself. And that becomes negative in your brain. If you do it out of love, it becomes, I need to do this for this person. It's out of positive. And that becomes easier to do. Now, the other thing also is whether what you do, you actually enjoy the process or you enjoy the outcome. Because, for example, I used to work in private equity. I liked the outcome. I made much more money I made more money when I was 23 than I do now. And much more. I mean, so I was making a lot of money, and I liked the outcome, and I liked the idea that one day I'm gonna be such and such, and I was gonna, have so much money and so have so much power. And I was at the time still thinking good things. I was like, I'm gonna make a animal conservatory, I'm gonna make charities, I'm gonna do these kind of things. But still, it's what is the real driver? But the point is, did I enjoy the work itself? No. Who enjoys that? What are you talking about? Looking through companies' financial statements? Nobody enjoys that except Warren Buffett, because he's weird. He's a really weird guy. The truth is, no one enjoys that. And that's another trick I teach you guys. There are fields in the world where nobody enjoys the process. Nobody genuinely, the people that like accounting, trust me, I know a lot of accountants. The people that really enjoy accounting, there's like 1 in 1,000.
Oh, for sure.
But most of them are doing it because I like the outcome. So what does that cause? It causes a thing of willpower. I have to go to work. I have to do the work. To be great is just will. It's just will. But when you enjoy the actual process, like you do, because you have creative elements in your technology and all these kind of things that you're interested in, and you get excited with it, and some parts of your process, I'm sure they're administrative and you don't like them, but some parts are creative, then it's easier to have a positive. So it's not just about motivation, it's about how healthy is your motivation. How, are you enjoying the process, and are you coming from the right perspective? These are the things that I think are important, and these are things that I fixed myself. Now, I was very productive when I was younger too, but I was coming from a different perspective.
Yeah, now you enjoy working.
Now I enjoy it, and that's why I do these coaching things and the genetic analysis, because many people don't know, maybe they watch the channel, I lose money when I do this. I mean, my consulting per hour is $150. I mean, my consulting, my price for consulting, for strategy consulting, is over double that. Every time I spend an hour on this stuff, I lose money. But I just charge enough that it's not such a loss that I'm like really suffering, But the reason I do is because I enjoy it, and I'd like to do more of it, because I'd like to do only what I enjoy. If I could do only what I enjoy and make a career out of that, then I would be much happier, and that's what I'm trying to do.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.